how to use AI for sales. Tomorrow is the meeting for me. And I got an appointment to meet the CIO in my life for the first time. How do I prepare for the meeting? Do you think AI will help me?
How can I use generative AI? Whom are you trying to interact? You're going to get you're only going to get the first 60 seconds.
Exactly, that's my problem.
Learning to understand this is what AI can help.
Morning, Venkat.
Morning.
Welcome to BrixEn's family. I really glad to have you part of the BrixEn coaches, and I'm very glad we're also touching the nerve center of the new technology through the proposed program. But before getting into the actual discussion today, you are a pioneer in the industry. You are in the industry for so many years. Rather than I am telling about you, can you quickly introduce yourself and get to the participants or the potential AI lovers?
Sure. Thank you for making me part of the BrixEn family, Saravanan. Just to give you a brief background about myself, I have about 35 years of experience, masters in technological operations. I've been always working on the cutting and bleeding edge of technologies. Currently, run a company that specializes in digital manufacturing with artificial intelligence and ML embedded into manufacturing applications. And of late, I've been intrigued by evolution of large language models and generative artificial intelligence, which is kind of transforming the way the world works today. If you really ask me, has it started? My view on how generative AI is today, it's already there.
Yes.
And universally, people are starting to adapt. There are hundreds of successful use cases. And that's what we're going to really focus on in today's conversation.
Excellent, excellent. And I represent the sales community. I could be a owner of a company. I could be a sales coach. I could be a business coach. By heart, I'm a sales guy. So thanks for adding value to the sales domain by teaching us how to use AI for sales.
Definitely. See, sales by itself, is a very intriguing subject. Can sales be called as a science? Do you have a standard methodology which can be a cookie cutter to everybody? The answer is no. Is sales an art? To some extent, it is.
I agree.
And today's large language models and artificial intelligence combination can really contribute to how you really personalize individual customer interactions, learn to analyze and structure the customer communication so that you are kind of positioned in an advantage when compared to your own competition, which is trying to sell to the same customer. In fact, one of the advantages of generative AI can actually work as your coach, can work as your guide by distinctly helping you to craft multiple what if conditions.
Okay.
I was, talking to the other day to our internal team, and we were talking about writing about a particular complex, painful project execution scenario to a customer. And we worked on and we crafted a prompt that would guide generative AI to give us a combination of 3 different variants of how do you respond to that scenario.
Not one, 3.
Not one. The reason for 3 was we wanted to look at a spectrum of audience who are going to receive this email. This particular customer, our experience has been, you will see your email on a subject floating around to 20-25 people, even though subject is relevant to 1 or 2 people within the team. Everybody within the organization structure, it happens on a 12,000 employee company. So we wanted to make sure we send a message across. It doesn't kind of damage the organization image. At the same time, it also conveys the right message across. The objective of using generative AI is to facilitate, enhance your articulation capabilities in this particular scenario. There is another scenario where one of my friend was asking about how can I use generative AI? We are a very large construction contracting company, and their requirement was I have about 10-15 captive accounts, typical Pareto scenario.
Okay.
2 or 3 accounts contribute to 80% of the revenue.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I was kind of telling him the way you should use generative AI is to design and execute key account strategies.
Correct.
Begin with the goal in mind. Today you do 50 crores with one account, tomorrow you want to make it 100 crores. The numbers aren't going to grow by itself. You need to understand multiple scenarios. Every drop that trickles into the sales funnel matters.
True.
So when you really use generative AI in those kind of scenarios, you can actually do hundreds of what if scenarios, and system can help you rank it in different methods. So one of the methods that I normally use, even when I write very sensitive communication emails, is acceptability index. System not only gives you content for the email, it gives you an acceptability index. So you would know. So if this customer likes a formal tone, whereas this customer likes a business tone. There's a big difference between a rigid formal.
You mean to say a communication specific to the persona?
Definitely. That is the biggest advantage of AI today. You could create a target persona, or you can create your own persona.
Absolutely.
So one of the classic example is if you're writing to a CTO, that is very different from writing to a CIO. Your AI can help you draft individual communication structures. It doesn't have to be email.
Venkat, can I stop you here?
Please.
Now you've gone deeper and writing a mail to a CTO, CIO. If I think like a salesperson, for me, writing an email to a CTO, CIO is a dream. Forget about writing an email. I'm going to a client place. Tomorrow is the meeting for me. And I got an appointment to meet the CIO in my life for the first time. How do I prepare for the meeting? Do you think AI will help me to understand? Example, understanding that persona and understanding the job expectations or role expectation. Do you think AI can help in that area also?
Definitely, AI can really redefine your thought process, kind of open the third eye for you. AI by itself helps you to define different personas.
Okay.
So you could define the industry, you could define the CIO, you could give as much as information that you know about the role of that CIO.
I put the position. Am I right?
You could put the position, you could put his role, you could understand what his org structure is, either is an influencer or a decision maker in your sales. Create a persona of that CIO. And you can actually ask generative AI to be that persona and actually do a simulation of interacting with them. You would know most likely what permutation combination that person would potentially think.
Again, I want to go to the basic again. I'm a salesperson.
It's extremely important. You are a salesperson. The most important thing here, sorry for stopping you, is you understanding whom are you trying to interact. You're going to get you're only going to get the first 60 seconds.
Exactly. That's my problem.
Learning to understand this is what AI can help. A CIO, a $1 billion corporation, or a CIO, let's say $1 million corporation, is a family man, family-owned enterprise, corporate. Accountabilities differ. Decision-making powers differ.
I'm sorry to ask this question again. I'm only like 2 or 3 year experience in sales. I'm new to IoT. I'm new to this kind of high-tech business. Can AI help me to understand a specific roles, expectation, roles and responsibilities, what kind of other department expectation on this role? Can I go one level below?
You definitely can define multi-personas within an organization.
Okay.
More equally important is going to be you defining your learning curve. You could say these
Where
are
you
the
stand.
technology.
Where you
These are the
stand.
technologies I am going to sell to this target audience. This is the role of a purchase manager. This is the role of an operations manager. This is the role of a maintenance VP. And say this is why I'm positioning the solution. Then you can understand whether that particular solution's usage is targeted to what role, who is the decision maker, who is the influencer, who can actually be your potential evangelist inside the organization, and what are they likely to position, how do you feed them with information. Those kind of analysis is what, when AI becomes a coach, it will guide you through.
Does this require a high level business language skill, or the English language skills? How do you see this?
That's where the large language models are transforming the way today. Any coaching is knowledge.
Okay.
The key difference is, Saravanan, reading a book,
Mm.
getting a knowledge.
Mm.
In our lifetime, we could remember maybe 100 books we can read and remember.
That's very high number.
That's a very insanely high number from a human knowledge index perspective.
Absolutely.
Most of us retain things vaguely after a few months.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. But your large language models are not like that. They are high-end computers that indexes huge amount of information. Today, the whole internet is being indexed, read through. Their relationships are defined on how the LLMs are defined today, giving a capability for AI to work like your brain. So it can go tap a neuron, pull all the related information. Today, that is where generative AI tools like ChatGPTs, Geminis, and Claudes, and other evolution of various tools that automates ChatGPT, like the Zypers and Makes, or simple Chrome extensions today that connect into ChatGPT kind of tools, are transforming your workflow.
Absolutely.
Either you're responding to an email or analyzing a data of 15 salespeople in 15 spreadsheets and putting them into an generative AI model, you can analyze your data. Most common thing I love to do is create a custom GPT, take a management book, throw it inside. Generally, I don't summarize, but I always tell, I cannot read this 232 pages. Build me a guide because I want to enhance my skill. That's where generative AI starts telling you, these are your skill building maps. These are the knowledge areas that you have to learn, and by learning this, these are the skill sets you can develop. Then it gives you an ability to apply. Generative AI on the other side can be very powerful. I use it all the time in my calendar planning. I look at very critical tasks that needs to be completed for that particular week. And generative AI can index all your, planned activities, generate a checklist, and I also ask, where can you help me? Where can you guide me? Where can you give me insights so that I could efficiently do what I do? That kind of a generative AI is somebody who I would like to say, by our Indian traditional method, it's like a guru being always with you.
Wow.
So guru is definitely
Nice.
lot more learned than you.
Nice metaphor. Nice metaphor.
It's guru is always, the guy who is far more learned than you and who will be more than happy to give you a wholehearted guidance. That's what this is going to play a role.
Now I just you coined a good term, guru. So I want to go in front of the guru. I'm the salesperson, 2 to 3 years experience, or I'm a owner of a company or a sales leader. Now, how do I go and approach my guru? Because I have a different perception about the guru as I'm taken. Whether the guru is suitable for me, whether whether guru will answer to me, whether I can ask the right question to the guru. I have so many questions. So the first question I want to start with, okay, ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini. I'm hearing so many names, am I right? And there are some free versions available. There are some paid versions available. Is it necessary for me to start with a paid version? Should I start? This is number one, question number one. The number two, if at all if I ask any of my customers sales team or my own team, which is back office, where they use ChatGPT more is on content creation, and then they also use it for email content. Okay. Now, as a salesperson, they don't know beyond how we can use it. Can you just put some light on how to approach the guru and what else I can get from the guru? That is your chat GPT
The
or
most, thank you very much. It's a very fascinating question. The most important application, I believe, that large language models were originally intended, were created, were probably meant for content creation, content aggregation. But today's scenario is very different. Today's scenario is, it is your ideation tool, it is your brain. But remember, this is a brain that you control based on what you ask for. This is like your genie in a bottle. You have already opened up the genie. But you need to wish correctly what exactly you wish.
Right.
So you need to wish for the correct thinking. So one of the things that a very unconventional way of using chat GPT, just not in the content perspective, is I love to use it as a coach.
Okay.
Coming to the same 2-year-old guy.
Yeah.
First thing, when I really like to use it as a coach, first thing that I really ideate is to find out, what does a 2-year-old salesperson do? Do I have clarity on my role? First of all, I try to understand, if I have to go meet a customer to sell an industry 4.0 solution in a particular vertical. For me, a basic ability to understand and ability to comprehend, when a customer says, I have this particular pain point in my manufacturing process, you are not going to be a manufacturing guru there. What you're going to really position yourself as, you are still the guru, because you are, one, my customer, two, you have been in the field longer than anybody
else, yeah.
So, but for me to kind of take an idea that you have generated to tell you, sir, here is where your technology can add value, I need to still prepare myself. So I would always tell young or old, young or experienced, seasoned, technical salespeople who want to really adapt generative AI, to begin with trying to build your own persona, who you are, what you want to accomplish. If you can define that, remaining things will fall in place. It's a subject that's ever growing. It's an endless ocean of knowledge. Every day we tend to learn things. For example, somebody asked me a question the other day. If you think artificial intelligence can do everything, can you tell me an example of what artificial intelligence cannot do?
Okay.
So I simply gave a very, very clear example.
Please.
Artificial intelligence, you have to remember, the genie is young, it can be a baby, it may not be able to answer things that you ask, which is not clear to the large language model. You go and say, how many birds are sitting in the tree? It will never be able to answer.
Correct.
Because it is the parameters are not defined. Where is the tree? What tree it is? How big is this tree? In which geolocation it is? What kind of birds live there? They come in groups. Do they fly solo like a bald eagle? Generative AI will never know. So it's extremely important for us to define it correctly. I may want to define, I'm in one of the bird sanctuaries. This season is this. These are the likely migratory birds. Then system will be able to say, depending upon your calendar, today's weather, season, your timing of question, how many birds are likely to be there. So AI by itself, according to me, has to be refined. You should know what you are really asking for.
Correct. So I also picked up, you are asking this W questions to define the personas. Would you like to put a little more light on that, building the personas?
So definitely, see, if you really look at, there are different, methodologies people use to build prompts or define the personas.
Okay.
The methodology that I have seen, being a mechanical engineer, having worked in industrial engineering for years, is to use 5W1H. The simplest way is to begin with whom you are interacting with.
Correct.
What are you interacting for? Where are you? What is the context of it?
Correct.
Then you talk about when, the timing of it, the why of it, and the how of it. This would actually be a great foundation to define be it your persona, be it the question that you want to ask, be it the prompt that you want to design. Most prompts are used for creating repetitive jobs.
Correct.
So the whole 5W1H, according to me, is a great foundation to exploit generative AI tools.
Wow, Venkat, thanks for putting the most important part of this, my learning today. Different steps you said, and you also said we need not go for the paid version. We can start with what we have today, the free versions. Now, if I have to learn this in a step by step, I also know you've already authored a book. Would you like to share a few things on your book? How this book can help the viewers, to learn ChatGPT or the equivalents in a much deeper way and apply that in their sales job.
Certainly, I am really not advocating that you should actually not go in for a paid version. I am advocating at some point in time you will
You
have
need to migrate, yeah.
What you are currently doing, if you are starting from a simple worker, you are transitioning yourself into a knowledge worker with AI.
Okay.
There are so many free tools where you can learn up to a particular point.
Correct.
But once you reach a point of saturation, which you will reach very quickly
Sure.
once you start learning. So the book primarily talks about the 5W1H methodology, talks about the heart of generative AI tools usage is prompt engineering, talks about what a prompt engineering is. I have done about almost 6 months of work in it to craft 400 key prompt words.
Did you say 400?
Roughly 400 key prompt words. Excellent. And about 60 plus use case scenarios where we can be a coach for a technical sales, very focused, writing a blog.
You mean the prompt and all these things towards a technical sales?
Everything is targeted to, the book is targeted specifically for accelerating capabilities of technical sales, automating mundane tasks so that you free them up to apply their wisdom in areas where it is actually required. So converting a sale is, end of the day, you are dealing with a very complex set of biological substance called human being. Every person thinks differently. Every person wants information differently. Every person likes certain level of feeding. You can't overdo it, which will kind of either demotivate your target or will give a kind of a uncomfortable feeling to your target.
Okay.
So you will be forced to balance that out. So one of the key objectives that we are trying to explain in that book is how generative AI coaches somebody. How do you build a coach persona? How do you go back to the coach persona and say, analyze my last week's 3 customer interactions? Which customer interaction I have done better? Which I have missed out? Where do I need more focus? But which customer can potentially give you a better revenue is still your decision. You have to feed your coach to guide you for that process.
Can my coach also analyze my CRM data?
It can. It definitely can analyze the data. Data analytics is one of the largest, in fact, most powerful capabilities of large language models, because models are trained with existing set of data and their behavioral patterns.
Correct.
So any new data system has a reference model for it to go analyze, look at the workflow of the data, look at the timeline, look at the impacts, and guide you through the process.
So very glad to know that you've come out with me. Of course, I'm also having a little part on that book. I'm so glad this book is coming soon. But there are certain people, they still would like to learn in first person. Am I right? And this program is coming up. What else is going to be taught if somebody going to come for this program? What to expect out of this program?
See, one of the things that our objective in this program is not to again focus on the theory side of the book.
Agreed.
Our objective is to take use cases where I want them to explain how do you define scenarios, how do you define personas, how do you do an analysis, how do you convert ChatGPT to your coach. This is going to be, we're going to demonstrate about a 40 plus use cases.
Okay.
And 10 to 12 complex thinking exercises.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
It is designed with an exercise. Again, don't get me wrong. My intention is I would still treat everybody who attends as somebody who wants to learn.
Absolutely.
You
Otherwise, they won't be in the classroom.
They won't be in the classroom. So definitely giving exercise is extremely important, because end of the day, you and me talk in English. You understand, I understand, we are able to reciprocate. Natural language processing driven large language models still have their limitations. So how do you structure it? How do you instruct it? How do you make it understand to design the desired outcome in a sequential fashion?
Okay.
Today, if you really look at it, most contents that you come across in a lot of the blogs that we see in most popular sites have a tinge of AI in it.
Correct.
There's two schools of thought. Why somebody AI should write, why somebody should not write. End of the day, for me, either of them are okay, because the objective is to conveying the message. Same way from a chat GPT also. There are multiple ways you can use generative AI tools and produce results, and it all depends upon your own business scenarios. That is one of the reason why we wanted emphasis on hands-on. And in fact, one of the thing that we were deliberating the other day also is to actually build the next level of training program to make people to use automation like Zyphers and Makes of the world. But that's going to be a 2-day hardcore, no code workflow automation, use of generative AI automation. That's for somebody who really has that taste. But I'm sure people will have to move that paradigm of adapting AI tools. Today, if you really look at your Gmail, your Gemini writes your response to any email.
You're right.
Latest release of Gemini responds to any email. Correct. Or if you go to...
Use your choice. LinkedIn does it.
LinkedIn does it.
LinkedIn does it.
No, more advanced, if you look at products like NodeGPT, which is a plugin of Chrome, uses ChatGPT as a framework. I pump in 4 research papers, which is part of my PhD exercise. I create a structure, look at the data, then I start rewriting it. End of the day, schools like BITS Pilani, they also have a way of checking whether we have used AI to generate content. So I end up taking all the summary, then you end up rewriting the whole thing.
Absolutely.
So end of the day, the human touch is very relevant.
So you mean to say, when you're going to talk about the 40 plus or so many number of use cases, can they start applying from the next day? They can start
the same evening.
Same evening.
I'm sure people who are excited will definitely go home and try it out.
Can you give one example of use case? I know I don't want you to
very sure, absolutely, you're right. There was a scenario, Saravanan, somebody was the other day was asking me in the office, competition A, competition B, competition C, competition D.
Okay.
These are their industry 4.0 solution brochures.
And it could be any automation, competition.
I'm just giving this real-time example what we encountered. Yeah. So when we read through it, our head of sales came back and said, "Sir, looks like everybody has covered everything. If you are going to put in a brochure, this is going to be repetition of the same content with the 5th version."
What is a new thing going to be there? Yeah.
So what I basically suggested was to write a prompt, pull out ISO 23247. There are 5-6 standards that Industry 4.0 uses. We uploaded that into generative AI, uploaded our competitions document into generative AI, and we kind of interacted with generative AI to give us certain unique value propositions that we can highlight in our product.
Correct.
It's a real use case.
And how many pages of document is this? If I can,
roughly about 100 pages of document.
Such a big document.
And with that, we were able to synthesize a 4-page document, which when you really read, doesn't look like all the other Industry 4.0 document.
What else you need sales fertility? Don't you like it?
It create a uniqueness, unique flavor.
When you're saying this, I also, getting into, some of the guys generally ask me, if Saravanan, I get a specification document, it's something close to 80-90 pages. And sometimes I go into the, the depth of this data. Sometimes I don't even know which project I'm working on. How do you think, I'm sure you are covering that in the, use cases, how it can help to convert into a 3 or 4 page document by which I'm able to go a checklist, or I can go into the finer details? There are two keywords prompts that I want to touch. I have taken about 20 keyword prompts and actually elaborated them. One of them is called summarize. Okay. The other one is
classify and create a checklist. So assuming you're dealing with a salesperson dealing with a tender document of 80 pages.
You're right. Exactly.
I could say I need these classifications and I need checklists for these classifications. Generative AI will be able to generate a very, very summarized version. You could say, give me 5 points, give me a comprehensive list that I do not want to miss in this tender. It would actually do a secretary's job when it has to become a secretary, but it will be a genie secretary. It will ensure that it takes every single content that's being requested there,
Right.
and then address it correctly.
And it can also, I have a document that's a tender document. Now I made the offer. Can it compare both?
It can.
And it can tell all the things are covered.
It can.
Very nice.
So it's a matter of how do you learn the prompt engineering. That is what this training program we're going to focus on. How do you build your prompts? How do you structure your prompts? The 400 prompts that we have really addressed there, we have created like a referenceable dictionary. Any salesperson can take this book and look at one of those prompts, which will become relevant to his day-to-day living scenario that he is handling in that particular moment in time. So fairly good amount of work has gone in trying to design the course content itself.
Great. So if I have to repeat what you said, you're going to give a lot of prompts and close to 40 use cases you're going to give, how it can help with tech sales. And then you're also talking about a book which contains all the step-by-step methods. And you also taught that 5W and 1H to create the persona. Ultimately, how and every organization is unique, every salesperson is unique, the product they're selling unique. So it will also teach. Is that book part of the training program?
Oh, it's every attendee gets a copy of that book for free. It's part of the training program.
Wow, that's so nice to understand. And what else? What else to take away from this program? You want to just
see? This is a fascinating approach to facilitate the transformation thought process of a technical salesperson, be it somebody who is just starting his career, or be it a CEO,
owner of a company.
We're trying to open his third eye, create a new vision to the whole thing. And this would definitely save fairly large amount of time, energy, and free up their most valuable time for strategic thinking. So that's the biggest advantage of trying to adapt tools like generative AI.
Very good. I'm very happy that you brought this concept to BrixEn, and BrixEn is more than happy to host this program along with you. And of course, I'm glad to announce that I'm going to be part of this program along with Venkat. Soon it is going to happen in your own city. And anything beyond this you would like to ask, we are more than happy. You can write to me. The email ID is given there, and you can write to us, and you can ask the questions to Venkat or me, and then we would all love to see you through the book and through the program. And I'm very glad. Venkat, thank you so much for.
Thanks, Saravanan. It was a very interesting conversation.
Thank you. And thanks for your time.
Hope the book and the training program adds value to the sales fraternity and helps sales fraternity transform themselves to the next level.
I'm sure this will help. I'm looking forward to meet you all soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.